I think the vast majority of farmers actually undersell themselves in what they do on their farms. I was asked to speak at a discussion group last August and about European policy and about policy in general. And the whole area of environment came up. And I was asking the group, so what are you guys doing on your own farms here to actually help drive innovation and help the sustainability impact of what you do on farms? And there was a bit of silence around the discussion group. And I saw on Twitter the previous day that one of the lads was spreading slurry with a trailing shoe. So I said, well, Brendan, you were spreading slurry yesterday. And he said, yeah, the contractor was in. And I said, I saw on Twitter he's using trailing shoe. He said, yeah, he's doing that for the last 3 or 4 years. And so I said, well, you actually are helping, in terms of environmental. One guy then said, yeah, well, actually, I have a tank on gathering rainwater, using that for dairy washings. And then plate coolers everyone was doing plate coolers. In the last couple of years, 17 out of 19 of the group are now grass measuring, grass budgeting. So the message is getting through subtly, but farmers actually don't realise what
they think it's just common sense.
It's common sense, and they're doing because it's the right thing to do. And I think the vast majority of farmers, if you ask them in the morning, the exact same question as what I asked that discussion group, they say, yeah, am I doing much? When you break it down, because it's the right thing to do. They can see an environmental impact, they can see an economical impact. You see the IFA Smart Farming initiative. One of my own friends is actually involved in it this year, Donald Sweeney, and is actually after getting huge results and huge savings on his farm from a financial perspective, but also from an environmental perspective. You mentioned the hoops that farmers have to jump through, and that is probably one of the things that farmers hate doing is audits. But I think that if you explain to farmers exactly why are we doing these audits, is it from an economical perspective, an environmental perspective? What is actually the end game in terms of these audits? I think it will help far more in terms of farmer buy-in to be part of it, but it also will help efficiency and productivity and profitability. And if I can say on you, first of all, or to conclude, is that I think Foodwise is actually a marvellous initiative. And I've been lucky enough over the last 6 or 7 years to travel all over Europe and speak to many European young farmers. And it started because of Food Harvest first, and they mentioned, Ireland going to increase dramatically in terms of milk output, and what was this down to? And I said, well, it came out of Food Harvest. And when you ask them what's happening in their countries, there's very, very little of joined-up thinking from an industry perspective. There might be sectoral targets and sectoral initiatives, but as an entire industry, I think it's something that we don't appreciate enough and acknowledge and say well done. But at the same time, we can't take it for granted, and we must use it to drive forward and become more efficient. But also, farmers must know that what they're doing on the ground is actually being part of the bigger picture. But industry, at the same time, can't expect farmers to run faster to stand economically still.